A very good morning and welcome to this morning edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. Bringing you the news, I'm Harshni Patrana, and let's start off with a look at your headlines first.
News First headline.
New regulations on election spending. Allegations of state resource misuse in presidential poll. In your international headlines, Blinken says Israel accepts Gaza proposal, urges Hamas to do the same. And in your sports, it's cricket. Ireland clinches series ahead of final ODI against Sri Lanka. And now your news in detail. An extraordinary gazette was issued outlining new regulations on campaign spending for candidates in the upcoming presidential election. Each candidate contesting at the presidential election 2024 to elect the president is authorized to incur a sum not exceeding of 109 rupees per elector for the purpose of election propaganda activities. Accordingly, the maximum amount that could be incurred by a candidate is 1,868,298,586 rupees only. The notification specifies that 60% of the total expenditure can be directly spent on the presidential candidate, while the remaining 40% can be allocated to the candidate's political party or group. The Extraordinary Gazette, released last night, falls under Section 3 of the Regulation of Election Expenditure Act No. 3 of 2023. It mandates that all presidential candidates must submit their election expenditure reports to the Election Commission within 21 days following the announcement of the election results. And now taking a look at more local news, concerns over the misuse of state resources and power in the upcoming presidential election have been raised by two prominent organizations. PAFREL has reported that the use of state property and power is an ongoing issue in relation to the election. According to Rohan Hettiarachchi, the executive director of PAFREL, a total of 148 cases have been documented so far. In a similar vein, the Institute for Democratic Reforms and Election Studies has highlighted the misuse of public resources and the deployment of public officials to promote presidential candidates. Manjula Gajanayaka, the executive director of the institute, said that they have received 120 complaints to date.
International news.
Now taking a look at your international news for this hour, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said yesterday that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had accepted a bridging proposal presented by Washington to tackle disagreements blocking a ceasefire deal in Gaza and urged Hamas to do the same. Now Blinken spoke to journalists after a day of meetings with Israeli officials, including a 2.5-hour meeting with Netanyahu. The top U.S. diplomat had said earlier that this push was probably the best and possibly last opportunity for a deal. And finally, taking a look at your sports update for this hour, the Ireland women's cricket team will take on Sri Lanka women in the third ODI today. Ireland women have secured the series with victories in the first two matches, leading 2-0. The third ODI between the two nations will be played in Belfast, Ireland, and will begin at 3:15 p.m. Sri Lankan time. And with that, we wrap up this morning edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. I'm Harshni Patrana. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more of the very latest.